All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we are live in full effect, and we got the one and only, we got Drift, also known as King Kojo, right here, live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you guys for even giving me the opportunity. Shout out to everybody. Thank you.
Hey, man, it's definitely an honor to have you here on the Canadian FM dial this evening, man. Hope everything is all well out there in New Jersey, man. It feels good to actually kind of get back to normal life, man, and get back to doing shows and get them damn masks off our faces.
Definitely. I hated the mask. The mask made me very uncomfortable. I don't think I could breathe too well with the mask. So, I'm grateful that we're back to a little bit of normalcy, and it's a blessing. Big time.
I definitely agree with that, man. But I know you're a busy guy, Drift, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, man. But I got to ask first and foremost, man, what originally made you decide to pursue a career within the music industry initially, man? Because you were such a phenomenal MC.
I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I say when I was a young man, I saw Big Daddy Kane on one of the local cable access shows, and he inspired me. He looked like he had a whole bunch of ladies. He had beautiful jewelry on, and he could actually rap dance off. So, I was like, nah, this is something I want to take part in. And then Naughty by Nature, who are also from my neighborhood, I saw them take off into the stratosphere. So then I knew it was something tangible, and that pushed me to, throw my hat into the ring.
And I have to ask, man, did you ever get the opportunity to actually cross paths with any of the members of Naughty by Nature? Because they are, like you just mentioned, they are in your neck of the woods out there in New Jersey.
Yeah, I recorded with them several times, and they have a new project, a new single out entitled Fiesta, and I could be seen in the video with them. So they're actually my friends, to be honest.
I gotta say, man, that right there is actually definitely any artist's dream come true, especially just being able to, like you said, grow up being inspired by not only Naughty by Nature, but Big Daddy Kane, and then being able to be featured in one of their videos. Man, it must have been such a surreal moment for you as an artist.
Definitely. I was even production from KG for free. Normally, he's a top tier and one of the legendary producers in the hip hop and R&B game. And for him to believe in me enough to give me production for free, that says a lot about how much he believes in my artistry. So I'm just super grateful for every blessing and every opportunity.
And also, I know I'm taking you back here for a moment, man, but in the year 2004, you actually released the phenomenal album titled Ribs is Touchin'. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this earlier release project, and of course, is it actually still available to be streamed or purchased in the year 2022?
Yeah, Ribs is Touchin', that was my debut project. It was distributed by Warner Brothers. Around that same time, I was on a defunct BT countdown show entitled 1 and 6 in Park. So I was the battle champion, and from there, big bro, from there, and I was afforded an opportunity to sign with Warner Brothers. So I released it through there. It didn't perform too well, so I'm not even too certain if it's still available to be streamed. But that was one of the blessings of my career, because I always wanted to have an opportunity to appear on a grand scale, and that was a dream come true.
And I gotta say as well, man, one of the songs off that project that I really enjoyed was actually Around Me, man. And you had some phenomenal producers on that project as well, from the Soul Diggers right down to Minnesota, who also did phenomenal work for Big Pun as well.
Wow, you really did your research. That's humbling. I truly thought nobody cared, So, it's humbling to hear that you actually did due diligence. You see the production, and it was a very fun album. It was my first album, and it wasn't too cohesive, but I was grateful for the opportunity, and I have fond memories of the project for sure.
And also as well, man, I actually read an article on the internet that your life experiences were actually written into a script during the first season of 50 Cent's television show titled Power. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that, and of course, how did your story originally turn into a television script?
That's funny too. I do not know. All I know is on the very first episode of the first season of Power, he said they had to go to East Orange to see a guy named Drift. I'm like, now, if do your research, I'm the only drift in the history of New Jersey, and from East Orange on top of that. So even the character that he had to play drift, he was a tall, slender, dark-skinned foreign man like myself. So it's like they clearly used my character. I don't know what the motivation was. I didn't really seek litigation because I can't afford to go back and forth with stars in the court or 50 Cent. So I kind of just took that on the chin. But I guess it was flattering that they would use my character as a character on the television show.
And I gotta say as well, man, when you actually found that out, did one of your homies actually tell you about it, or were you just sitting there one night enjoying some late night television and then you noticed that
No, I was actually watching it. I was watching the episode because I knew it was a new 50 Cent helmed show, and I'm a fan of it. So I thought, oh, let me check it out. So I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, nah, I couldn't possibly just hear that. Maybe I smoked too much. You know what I mean? I thought I was high, but it's like, nah, they really said it. And then my phone was ringing off the hook, and everybody's like, yo, I'm proud of you, kid. You're going to be on a new show on Stars Network. And in my head, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to be on it. So it's the whole thing blows me away. I don't know what happened. I don't know why they used me, but I'm grateful.
Hey man, that is definitely one way to make someone sit up off their couch, man. And
yeah. Definitely.
But also as well, I actually noticed that before you actually signed a deal to veteran hip-hop producer Baby Paul's label and brand management firm Transparency, I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that deal, and of course, how did yourself and Baby Paul originally get connected?
That's a great question. I'm trying to think, how did I get... Oh, okay, I was introduced to Baby Paul from one of his cousins. I went to school with one of his cousins. So he sent him some of my material, and then we ended up meeting, and we had a good energy, a good synergy. So we recorded together. Unfortunately, the label funding was minimal for the label, so I was unable to make any headway, or we didn't have every time it was time for us to have a budget meeting, it would always be postponed, or I just didn't. There was no urgency for my project whatsoever. So that's kind of how the situation figured out. And it was definitely hurtful to my ego, and I took, though I probably wasn't meant to make it into the music,
And also as well, as you mentioned a few moments ago, man, you are also a former Freestyle Friday champion. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a little bit more about that. And of course, do you actually still compete over at Freestyle Fridays?
Yeah, Freestyle Friday was a segment on a BT television show here in America. It was the top hip-hop show on television at the time. So in order for people to receive notoriety, you would get on the show and battle other rap artists. Now, me, I'm a battle rapper, but I want to be like a headline rap artist. So that's the main reason why I entered into the competition. And no, I did not currently battle. I'm focusing specifically on more recordings. I definitely want to maximize the little popularity I do have. I want to maximize and try to turn it into something musically.
And also, aside from your music here for a few moments, I also read as well that you are actually a published comic book author. And me personally, I'm an avid comic book reader, so this is definitely a question that I'm very interested in. I was wondering, what kind of comic books are you an author of? And of course, how can our listeners actually snag themselves a couple copies of your comics today?
Yeah, my comic book is entitled Mr. Kumasi. I have written it, illustrated, colored, edited, everything. So it's available now on my website, which is driftartandmusic.com, and it's also available on Amazon and Kindle. So the name of the comic book is entitled Mr. Kumasi, and it's a take on Superman with like an urban twist to it, like if you grew up in my environment. So it's a pretty cool comic book. I like it a lot. I'm working on the third issue as we speak. It's featured in several comic book stores within the area. I'm still trying to figure out how I can get it to a national level. Yes, I'm just trying to get it to a national space.
And also as well, January 26th of 2021, you actually released the phenomenal 10-track album titled What My Soul Sound Like. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners about this most recently released album. And of course, do you have any hard copies to be purchased today?
Yeah, I don't have any hard copies. The album was dedicated to my baby sister. My baby sister passed away July 30th, 2020. So I tried to do an album that she would be pleased with. You know, something she remembers the type of music. I remember the type of music that she loved, so I took it upon myself to rap more on those type of instruments. So, you know, it was just a dedication to my sister, really, just so I could cope with her passing, essentially.
And I do want to say my sincere condolences, man. It definitely was such
I
such a
appreciate you.
beautiful project.
Thank you sincerely, you know, and it helped me heal a lot. Anytime I deal with adversity in my life, I kind of go to the music, and the music gets me through. It's been doing it since childhood. So at the lowest point in my life, that's the only thing I had was the music. So that's what happened.
But I have to ask, what is next for yourself, Driftman? Is there anything we happen to miss during tonight's broadcast? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? What we still got you here live on 97.7 FM this evening?
Yeah, no, I got a brand new single that's available everywhere. It's entitled Goofy. The name is King Kojo. That's the new name. I'm unable to go by Drift now due to trademark issues. I use my birth name Kojo. So the project is entitled, well, the single is entitled Goofy, and King Kojo is available on all streaming platforms. It's on Sony/A1, and I got a new video for it on YouTube. If you get an opportunity, please check it out.
And also as well, this is the time in the interview quickly there, Kojo, that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give like shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, and of course, man, your social media handles. That way, our listeners can follow you and stay updated with everything you got going on all across the board.
Definitely. I just want to send my love to everyone in Canada, everyone who loves hip-hop music, anyone who has an opportunity to check out my music. I thank you. And if you're going to check it out, I thank you ahead of time. My Instagram is what I use primarily, and that is TheKingKojo, the King Kojo. That's my Instagram. I follow everyone back for the most part, as long as it's not a page full of memes. I follow everybody back. And I just send love to the entire Canada, essentially.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, King, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 FM airways, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man. And hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
I do, and I appreciate you. I thank you so much for the opportunity and for the platform. And anytime you guys need me, I'm available. Back.
Hey, man, most definitely. Thank you so much again, King, and definitely have yourself a wonderful night out there in New Jersey.
You as well. Thank you so much. Send love to the entire Canada and you as well, the whole station.
Man, thank you so much, man. Have yourself a wonderful night.